On this episode of the In an Instant program, we are taking a walk on the wide side with the Instax Wide 400, a historic return of a wide format camera to Fujifilm's lineup on the 25th anniversary of the format's introduction, and their first new Instax Wide release in 10 years. Let's dive right in.
The kind of photography that would become part of the human being. Press a button and have the picture.
Welcome to In an Instant. My name is Ben, and as if summoned from the beckoning cries of tens of thousands of comments on Instagram and YouTube and MSN, Fujifilm has finally brought a new Instax Wide camera into the world, the Instax Wide 400. For the last decade, humanity has watched Instax film rise to become one of the most popular consumer photo products in the world, and felt the breeze of a constantly flapping barn door of new Instax Mini and Instax Square cameras, Square being a format introduced during the Great Wide Dormancy. With wide film presumably being the least popular seller of the three Instax sizes, Fujifilm had deemed it unnecessary to release an update to 2014's Instax Wide 300, other than a printer. This makes the 400 only the sixth camera released in the quarter century since Wide debuted in 1999. The planet has both seen a rapid decline in worldwide bee population and its impressive revitalization in the time between these camera releases. In those 10 years, a few third-party companies like Lomography and Mint released higher-end alternatives to the format, with wider apertures and much more control than the very automatic Instax Wide 300. That being said, the folks yearning for Fujifilm to introduce a wide to rival these more manual cameras will definitely dismay in the Instax 400's more basic feature set, which is very similar to its decade-old predecessor. But if you thought Fujifilm was going to introduce a $400 high-end yoked wide camera in 2024, I have an oceanfront property in Colorado to sell you. Colorado is a landlocked American state, making an oceanfront property impossible. Thus, you would be a fool for thinking this transaction was possible. I also don't have a real estate license, and if I owned property in Colorado, I would live on it. This is all to say Fujifilm has consistently released Instax point-and-shoot cameras with simple fixed aperture lenses, and the cameras are very good at taking the photos they're designed to take. The 400 is no exception. Its 95mm f/14 lens is very sharp, and the camera's automatic metering system works expectedly well. It's hard to miss with it, and that's why Fuji designs their cameras this way, to reduce the skill necessary to take an acceptable image. Thus, the Instax Wide 400 relies on a basic set of functions for operation. Its lens features two positions, one closer to the film plane to focus from 3 meters to infinity, and one that draws the lens further out to focus from 0.9 to 3 meters. Like the Instax Wide 300, the camera also comes with an external snap-on close-up lens, which enables focusing at 15 to 19 inches. And sorry I'm mixing metric with imperial measurements, but let's be honest, if you shoot film, you just gotta be on top of this. Like, do the conversions in your head. Okay, I'm not gonna hold your hand the whole time. The close-up lens, I feel, is really where the camera's at its best, because it allows you to achieve background separation, which really isn't possible without it on. For example, this picture was taken at the 0.9 to 3 meter lens position. 3 meters is really far to try to get any separation at f/14, even though this is a 95mm lens, which has decent compression. But back to the close-up lens, it's interesting that you still need this external element, given Instax has since introduced 0.3 meter minimum focusing distances on Square and Mini cameras. I'm guessing this has to do with the longer focal length and maybe being an engineering challenge, but it really would have been nice to have this on board. It's by far my favorite look from the camera, and I'm 100% going to lose this lens. It does have a little hole in it to be looped onto a clip or something, but doesn't come with an attachment accessory for that. The camera can fold down with it on, but overall I just think this could have been executed better. Composition for close-ups is done by using the inner frame lines in the viewfinder, which I've actually found to be pretty accurate and easy to use. Focusing is a bit of a guessing game, and I've repeatedly missed, which is really annoying. Unlike the two focus zones of the lens, the margin of error is very slim at 4 inches, so it might be a good idea to bring a 15-inch string with you wherever you go, or have a middle finger to elbow distance that is exactly 15 inches, like me. I'm just born like that. The camera's operation is quite simple, my darling. Exposure is fully automatic. Not only is the shutter speed automatic, which does work well, the flash is also automatic. In fact, it can't be toggled off at all. Rather, the camera decides whether or not it is necessary. It basically doesn't fire if there's enough direct light on the subject to create an even exposure. It works pretty well in broad daylight, but fires when shooting landscapes in dimmer light, which locks the shutter speed in and thus underexposes photos a bit. Your pictures will never be blurry, but that's because it's not capable of slower shutter speeds. And this is all a bit strange given the fact that the Instax Mini 99 just re-established a whole new range of features that I really wish were present here. The Wide 300 even had two essential features which are missing on the 400 in exposure compensation and manual flash control. My thinking is that the Wide 400 is styled like the SQ1 and is similarly intended to be their new updated base tier camera in this lineup. Both have this very geometric and earth tone look, and they are both fully automatic with no flash or exposure control. Perhaps if the Wide 400 does well, which it for sure will, they'll release a Wide 99 as the premium wide camera model. Wide 99 just sounds really cool. I'm just gonna put it out there. Now a section I like to call odds and ends. 1. The close-up lens also has a selfie mirror. It's no wonder about the arm length thing for getting a subject in focus. I can't seem to get photos centered. Despite composing exactingly with the center dot, my brain just needs a center point to work from, and with the viewfinder remaining so far from the lens and actually being on the opposite side of the 300, framing with intention can be a real challenge. It costs $150, which is very reasonable to me. This thing is huge, and it most certainly is a certified doinker of the highest order. It ejects photos much faster than square or mini cameras. These things are practically shooting up, much like America's record-setting bee population. There's a self-timer with 2-second intervals up to 10 seconds. While a basic function, I'm really happy it's on there and I like how it's designed. The 400 comes with 2 little blocks for lifting the camera up when on a flat surface. Whomst thinks of this stuff? You open the film door with this beautiful metal latch. We haven't talked that much about the design in this episode, but it's got some flourishes. It's very angular like the SQ1, but in this colorway it also spells out a sort of combat or adventure motif, especially with the ridged battery compartment. Okay, we'll keep it lucky and stop at 7. That's all for the Wide 400. Hopefully this is only the beginning for the continued revitalization of the Instax Wide camera lineup by Fujifilm and the worldwide bee population. Thank you for watching In an Instant. Go wide or go home and smash that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more reviews, breakdowns, shoots, and all things instant. Bye.